Today's episode is brought to you by Tackle Up. Tackle Up is a premier, high-quality fishing shirt, lifestyle apparel company. They're providing the best quality shirts. You see us wearing them all the time. You saw the Double B, Double D, Bring Back Dollar Dog shirt, and we're going to be debuting a Red October shirt here soon. Head on over to tackleup.net. Use promo code Talkin215 for 15% off site-wide. And even if you're not getting one of those shirts, they have Who Rags, they have Grundens, all kinds of other incredible fishing apparel, all the things you need. I understand winter is coming, and it might not be the best time for you to be getting fishing stuff right now for you to use, but guess what? It's also coming. Christmas, Hanukkah, all of the other gift-giving seasons where you can give your loved ones the exact gift that they need, which is a Tackle Up shirt. Tackleup.net. Let's do it.
Welcome to Talkin 215, your go-to podcast for everything you need to know about Philly sports. Whether you bleed green, trust the process, fly with the Flyers, or fight with the Fightins, this is the place where we break down Broad Street. Jake, Sean, and Joey deep dive into the heart of Philly sports culture, breaking down games, roster moves, and sharing the stories that make the 215 truly legendary. So grab a cheesesteak, settle in, and let's get to Talkin 215. Now here's your host.
Okay, folks, we got a special episode here of Talkin 215. It's Tom Stakes as the host. That's insane. There's never been an episode of Talkin 215 that I'm like the host of and that I lead the intro of. So this is a special episode. And like I was just saying before we hopped on, this has been really hard to try to keep people excited about the Eagles right now. They look kind of sloppy the same way they did last year. And there's questions about a lot of different things. So I just want to get into it. First of all, we're here with Coach Joey and Philly Dogs. Chris he's rarely on, honestly. I'm rarely on even at this point, but Chris is really rare. So this is a rare episode. And we got two dudes that I just can't wait to hear what they thought about this football team. So first things I want to get out of the way here is, how much stock do you put into the Bucs game specifically? Like injuries, all that. Like, do you think them looking bad in that game is as much to you a big deal as just overall what they kind of look like? And how did they relate? Are you giving them a pass for the injuries and excited for these guys to come back? Take it away.
I think from an offensive side of the ball, I'm okay with what we saw because – you know, Tom, Joey, I saw your tweets all week, right? Like, I think being down A.J. Brown, being down Devonta Smith, being down Lane Johnson, they showed all the stats, how we are with and without Lane Johnson, our win-losses. It's abysmal when Lane's not there. So I kind of knew it was not going to look good from a offensive side of the ball. From a defensive side of the ball, I think I got pretty hype around that Saints performance and was thinking, hey, not much is going to change week to week here. We should look pretty good and be able to stop the Bucs. That obviously didn't happen. We looked pretty shitty on all sides of the ball there. Yep. So I would say the defense surprised me. The offense did not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Chris just said. I tweeted out before this game, I said, I don't think we're going to win this game. However, if we do, it's going to take a defensive performance like we had against the Saints because the offense is that undermanned. Yep. And you take away a team's top two receivers, 3 of their 5 receivers, if you count Covey as one of the 5, whether you think he's great or not, it's still 3 of your 5 starting wide receivers. And your starting Hall of Fame tackle, you know, the best right tackle in all of football. If you have a equivalent caliber of that playing on the road with a new coordinator, you don't expect teams to win those type of games. But like Chris said, defensively, I mean, I think no matter what level of football you've played, watched, coached, listened to, or familiar with, you're seeing the Buccaneers run wide receiver screens, 2-yard slants, 3-yard drags. And you're seeing this and this is going to sound very casual of me to say, like almost like a prevent defense. You're seeing us like we're protecting 3rd and 15 and it's 2nd and 2. And you're wondering to yourself, why are we playing so off like this? What is going on? I was pissed at the D-line again for not getting pressure, but then I thought to myself, what D-line on the planet could get pressure if all of Baker's quick throws are just boom, boom, boom? It doesn't matter if you have Myles Garrett and the best D-line out there. It's not going to happen. So to answer the question, Tommy, offense, I kind of expected a low-scoring game, maybe around 20-ish points, 20, 19, 17, 20. But defense just didn't show up. Nobody did.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that sentiment on the surface. But I will say this about the defense, and this is what I think, is that for every great game that they have, like they had against the Saints, they're probably going to have one or two more that don't look so good. They're young, they're inexperienced, and they're quite frankly just not that good. So, this team to me was built to be able to control the game on offense. High level weapons. Go out and get Saquon Barkley. You have the receivers on the outside, and if anything compromises that, you're looking at a game where you can get lit up any game, because the defense just doesn't have. They're not elite. They're not an elite defense, and that's what it is. Like, you just have to. So I think we have to get used to that as a fan base, and have to hope that these guys can stay on the field, or it's not going to go so well. I mean, the defense can only do what it did against the Saints so many times, is really what I'm trying to say, and that's just got to be accepted. But it was disappointing to see them play like that, and it's disappointing to have to accept that, in my opinion. But specifically, the defense, it's Fangio. That's his thing. What do you think about Nick Sirianni and what he's doing on offense, and how it's looked unprepared and just no identity? I mean, that they keep saying it. We're trying to find an identity, and it's like, Nick Sirianni, explain that. You got to be able to explain that as a head coach. So, are you guys on the train? Obviously, the hottest topic right now is, do you fire him or do you keep him? So, where do you guys stand on that?
I'm souring on Nick, if I'm being honest. Like, I mean, a lot can change. We're week 4. Go, you know what I mean? It's still early.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not the type of fan that's going to be like, oh, fuck it, get rid of him. I'm done with him. We got to let the season run. If it doesn't change, then yeah, I think you got to have a series. I think that conversation happened in this offseason, and it was like, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull in Kellen, we're going to bring in Vic, and things are going to change. But I feel like, and Tom, you just said something like, we're trying to find our identity. And last year it was, we're just trying to put the pieces. It's always something like, we're going to get it together. We're going to get it together. But you only do that shit for so long. Eventually you got to put that shit together. Right. We had the same conversation last year.
Right.
So
right.
I'm souring on him. I don't know who I would want to replace him. I'm way too early to make that call, but I'm definitely souring on him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think he's got to earn my trust back too, honestly, a little bit here. Like, I need to see something. But Joey, what do you think about that? Are you fire Sirianni or keep him?
So look, I'm souring as well. But one thing I want to say about head coaches in this league too, and this is part of like a mini like pissed off moment of mine, is we talk on this podcast all the time about stats, box score stats, and how they don't tell the true story, right? Like, you could see somebody threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but if you were down by 27 in the fourth quarter and you got 2 of those touchdowns and 200 yards in the fourth quarter when the defense was just like playing prevent, like, that doesn't tell the whole story. Mm-hmm. Stats rarely do, unless you watch the full game. A stat that I think really aligns to what people value in a head coach is your record. A head coach is as good as his record, period. Mm-hmm. So Andy Reid won Super Bowls, right? Like, he may not be the best play caller. He may not be the best player personnel guy. He may not be the best at game day management. But if he wins, he's a good coach. If you lose, you're a bad coach. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. So am I souring in that regard? Yes. But I want to say something, because I saw this shit on Twitter today, and I'm getting really, really mad about it. One of these 2 points. One, the Bill Belichick, should he be the coach of the Eagles? Should Bill Belichick be the coach of the Eagles? First of all, you sit here and say, I don't know what Sirianni does. I don't know what Sirianni does. He doesn't call plays on offense. He doesn't call plays on defense. What does he do? Guys, that's literally Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick could have signed with any team this offseason when there was 11 head coaching vacancies. You know how many teams signed him? Zero, including teams that had picks in the top 5, including teams that could have developed young quarterbacks, including teams that had quarterbacks already established and would have loved to have a coach of the guy that coached Tom Brady, right? Nobody did. So why a year later do you think you would want the same exact thing? Go look at his track record of drafting too when he was a GM. Oh, but he'll call the plays on defense. He hasn't done that in over 8 years. What are you talking about? He hasn't done that in over 8 years. Why do you guys just say stuff like that? That doesn't make sense. So throw out the Bill Belichick stuff when it's talking about Sirianni. Also, it's Sirianni's offense. The Eagles are ranked 19th in motion. They're ranked 19th in the snap at motion. You know the difference between 19th and top 10? Less than 1%.
Okay.
That's one play of motion difference between being in the top 10 in the league in motion and being 19th. So please shut up about anytime we do bad. Oh, Sirianni must be taking over. Or when we do good, what does he do? Because this was all Kellen Moore. You guys can't have it both ways. I don't understand that shit. There was less than a 1% difference in the motion rate between a top 10 motion team and the 19th team, which we are right now. And also, when you're down like you are on the road without your stars, you may not be breaking out all the plays, guys, in Kellen's playbook, okay? You may not be doing that. So get it through your head and stop doing that. That doesn't mean you can't be critical of Sirianni, but don't just make up shit to fit your narrative.
Yeah,
here's the other thing.
Sorry,
Tom, real quick about Belichick, because like here's what it's like. Sirianni gets in front of the press conference. It's like he's not saying anything. It's all he's glazing over this. Has anybody watched Bill Belichick over his entire fucking career? The guy says nothing on camera, behind camera, on the sideline, never says a fucking word. So you're not going to get Bill Belichick's not your guy if that's the guy you want. I just needed to say that because that shit's been pissed off.
You're right.
Yeah, you're like.
Yeah, no. Bill Belichick, people liken him to Nick Saban, and he's got all the wins. But in reality, he made a reputation off being Tom Brady's coach. Like, that's kind of what we figured out at this point. And I think that people are not really driven to get like a 70-plus-year-old guy as their coach that kind of didn't really do much after Brady left. And I don't know. I don't like the short-term sighted kind of mindset when it comes to Belichick being the Eagles coach. But I think Joey hit the nail on the head right there. And I think he said a line that like really stuck with me, and it's that Nick Sirianni, whenever we're doing bad, it's like, oh, Nick Sirianni must be getting involved. And whenever we're doing good, it's like, oh, okay, Nick must have butted out. Like, what does he actually do? So it's funny that that's kind of become this seesaw. And I think that going back to the Bucs game with what you guys were saying as well to tie it in is maybe we didn't see all Kellen's playbooks. We're on the road against a tough team and in a tough spot. We didn't have our players. So maybe we just called it, kind of just got out of there, tried to stay healthy, didn't give Saquon the ball. I mentioned that on Twitter earlier. Like, do you think we might have just like punted that game just to be like, dude, it's probably not happening? Like, AJ posted that video of Michael B. Jordan under the water screaming like he wanted to play, but he just knew it was the right decision kind of not to at that time. And I feel like, do you feel like they, did that on like not tried to lose, but didn't really worry about the result of that game?
I think, look, you can't say that as a coach, right? You can't be like, hey, guys.
Yeah, you're not going to say that. No.
Yeah, you're not going to say that, and you're not going to prepare that way. But there were reports that Lane Johnson cleared protocol and that he was ready to go. Okay. There were reports that A.J. Brown, if he's practicing on a Friday, that means he's ready to go 100%. You saw the tweet from AJ, looked like one of, I want to be out there. I'm ready to go, but this is beyond my control. They're holding me back. And to answer your question, Tom, if this was week 14, I think both of those guys play. But because this is week 4,
right,
I think it was, let's see if we could win without these guys because it's so early, as opposed to let's punt this game. I think there was that type of sentiment in there.
Right. Yeah, not quite literally. I know you never.
Yeah. I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean because it part of that. It's a percentage, though, right? Like,
yeah, it's
if
like,
we lose, oh well,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's like if we win this game, that's crazy. But like, we're just gonna play these guys instead because we just want. I mean, especially think about it, AJ Brown. It's not just we practice, and I know that's true. I know AJ would have played if it were an important game, but this early in the season, it's like he kind of missed the last 2 weeks of practice here, so 3 weeks of practice. Having him, I think, next week on a full week of practice leading into the game is going to be such a big like momentum boost for him and for the whole team. Really, it's going to be good to get him back and fully healthy. And not looking ahead yet to the Browns. Still want to stay on the Sirianni topic. So you guys mentioned Belichick as a guy you don't want, and I don't like talking like this during the season, but I think I want to bring it to the podcast. who do you want if Sirianni were to get fired? If you had to pick, like, pretty much you either get rocked in the face by like a prime Mike Tyson, or you pick a coach that you wanted to get, hired. Mike Tyson, fist to the face. Who you picking? What name you saying?
I was going to say, Vrabel. I was going to say, gun to my head, I'm saying Vrabel. Yeah.
A young version of Belichick coach.
Yeah, so I like Vrabel because of the toughness issue, and I think our defense needs that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love Vrabel if we could keep Kellen Moore.
So you don't think Joe is a tough guy? You think he's a tough guy?
No, I just think my ultimate want is Ben Johnson from Detroit, the offense coordinator there, right? But that means Kellen Moore is gone because we're running Ben Johnson's offense. So it's kind of like a give or take. But to Chris's point, if we got to keep Kellen, I'd take Vrabel that way, and he can there whooping some ass and making sense, as opposed to just Fangio who just whoops ass and just, I don't know.
And I think Vrabel's a good fit for the city. I feel like that would be a good fit.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear him on WIP too, answering questions, and he wouldn't take any shit from those goofy ass questions that WIP asks either.
He's kind of to me, he's like the original. Well, not really, because he came before him, but he's like a Dan Campbell. But like, honestly, I like him more than Dan Campbell. Like, I've always been a big fan of Vrabel, other than when he scored against us in the Super Bowl when I was 15 years old and did the bird flap. But linebacker in there making catches. But he would turn Ben Van Sumeren into one of the best linebackers in football, like that, but no. So, Ben Van Sumeren's playing on special teams. They're saying he's the heart of the special teams. And that's a reason now that they're saying that Devin White isn't playing. Devin White retweeted Levante David, strip sack and Hurts. Now Darius Slay is talking to Micah Parsons, the ops. What are your thoughts on these veteran guys? What can they do to get back in your good graces and contribute positive stuff to this team? Or are you not even like worried about it? Or are you just like, whatever?
I don't know if I'm on the popular side of this or not. I don't really care that people take the social media.
Okay.
Look, that's the age that we live in. Now, if Theo was doing that shit back in the day, we'd probably flame him the fuck up. But this is the day and age that we live in. They take CJ is on fucking Instagram Live after every single game. Basically, I'm probably over exaggerating there, but
he loves it.
It's the nature of the game. They're not at each other's throats like we are with Cowboys fans or we are with Niners fans, right? Like, they're not going to fight these guys. Like, they're not ops. Like it's just not like that. Like, they're friends. They go on each other's podcasts. And I don't really give a shit. So long as I see the product on the field doing well, winning games. Like, you can go fucking on Micah's podcast as a part-time host. I don't give a shit. But, like, do your thing on the field. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Amen, Chris. Amen.
It's that easy.
It's so refreshing to hear that, because I think we are so fickle as human beings and as a society, because it's low-hanging fruit, right? Like, I see the things all the time. It's like, if you could pick one player from the NFC East to add to your team right now, who would it be? 98% of people say Micah Parsons. Like, add Micah Parsons to this defense, add Parsons to this D-line, add Parsons. So you want Parsons on your team. You like him. But when he's doing the podcast shit for the Cowboys, it's funny to make fun of. And it's also low-hanging fruit, because I brought this point up on Twitter today, and I wanted to see what people had to say. They're attacking Slay left and right? They don't like the way Slay is happy-go-lucky, that he laughs, that he daps it up with all his friends after games, win or lose. So there's pictures and video of Saquon dapping up with Sterling Shepard of the Bucs, laughing, joking, having a good time. Also, Saquon said that he called Daniel Jones to congratulate him after that win that he had 2 weeks ago. The Giants are ops, aren't they? Aren't they in the division? Why are you congratulating the Giants and everything like that and being happy for them after we lost to the Falcons? Why are you doing that? Mm-hmm. So I don't see people going crazy over Saquon. You know why? Because they like Saquon. They don't like Slay. Mm-hmm. So just like any teenage girl that has a crush, just like any kid that likes this or likes that, you are going to lend your feelings, your thoughts, whatever they are, to your agenda. We all do that as humans. We absolutely do that. We're hypocritical in every sense. Mm-hmm. I see CJ post the word, and automatically everybody assumes you see his response to Slay being on Micah's podcast. Mm-hmm. When did he say this was in response to Slay specifically? Why are we drumming this up and saying now there's locker room turmoil? Why are you going there? Where did you see that? Where did you see him say that in response to that? So the social media shit, just like Chris said, all it takes is one of these quote unquote influencers or people with a lot of followers to do something. Then WIP gets a hold of it. Then Philly Eagles at PHL, whatever, gets a hold of it. And it starts circulating. And then on the next talk show, you see with Nick Wright and the guys, they're talking like locker room issues. Is Darius Slay causing problems? Man, come on, stop. I don't care what they do on social media as long as you win ball games. Winning ball games should be the period. You end it right there, and that's that.
So obviously, both of you guys have a very strong opinion toward the side that there's no like lack of focus just because he's doing this other stuff on the side. Like it's not going to make them play worse or practice worse or anything like that. You just think it's like what they do on the side. It has no effect. No one's affected by Darius Slay doing what he's doing on the Eagle. I mean, they did vote him captain. I guess they kind of know how he is. And
well, let me ask you, Tommy. Let me ask both of you guys. Did y'all listen to that full pod, or did you guys just see the clip of Slay going like this and laughing when he brought up CJ?
Listened to it, and to be honest, I didn't think like he just kind of acted like himself. Like he said, like number 8, that's my guy. That's my. Like he didn't really say anything.
He
bad
praised him almost the entire time.
Yeah, like he was. Yeah, he was. It wasn't like. But the what it looks like to people, and I'll speak for the people now, is that they think just the fact that he went on the podcast at all to talk to Parsons and do a partnership podcast kind of stream when Parsons was talking shit about CJ. Like that itself looks bad no matter what you really said. Like he did. I don't think he some people said he didn't defend him hard enough. Like he kind of just was like, oh, that's my guy, whatever. And like, so there's like, it looks like I you know what? I saw something and it's funny. I thought it in my head too and it's, it's kind of a harsh criticism, but to say that Slay is kind of setting up for life after football on the Eagles' dime. And that's something that's like, is he like, people are really questioning, is he even focused on football and this team and being a leader and not like other things and himself kind of, because he's been saying it's his last couple years in the league, if not his last year. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think like he's checked out and he's just like kind of just cruise control?
Did we have a problem with Jason Kelce doing a podcast with Travis after the Chiefs beat the Eagles?
To be honest, I did.
I was about to bring that up. You talk about Saquon, how we love him, right?
Yeah,
Jason was out hopping on a podcast every single week with a chief who we all hate.
I know. I hate. To be honest, it hurt my soul to see Jason Kelce in that Chiefs hat going wild.
But Tommy, how much backlash did you see of it though from Eagles fans? You didn't see as much as
I got ripped for saying I thought it was a little sketchy for him to be wearing the Chiefs hat at the game, drunk, screaming, happy. A week after we got our ass kicked by Tampa Bay in the playoffs. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I get it, dude. It's your brother. But like, dude, you're in a Chiefs hat going wild. It's a controversial take to like say that. Like, I get it. His family's on the game and all that. But you know what? His wife wore a Cincinnati pullover. And I'm sleep though. That's all I got to say.
But I think what Chris is trying to say too is, to his point, is like, where are we weighing those? If people are like, the hell with Slay, but Kelsey's just being silly and himself, and you know exactly. What I'm saying?
Like it is his family, I get that, but like the optics to me, I was like, why are we? It's the Chiefs hat, and he's going nuts with the fans, and we just got our ass beat. Did he even want to win, or did he just want to go root for the Chiefs?
See, like, there you go, and I think it's all win-loss based, right? It's all win-loss based. Yeah. Tyrese Maxey,
I would have been like sick.
Tyrese Maxey does a podcast, and everybody on the planet loves him. Paul George has one. When they're winning, they love them. But it's so funny because it reminds me of those guys that, like, when you see like an Eagles player or an NFL player at like a bowling alley and something like that, and they're like, should really be studying your playbook and not be bowling. And they're like, bro, like, I'm just bowling. Like, I don't have to be like locked into the playbook 24/7 to not know every call, every play. And I think Slay is the scapegoat, right? if you don't like his personality, you're going to translate that into the field and then magnify it. But again,
Yeah.
I'll ask the same question. I saw people say, you don't see Quignon doing that. You don't see Quignon doing that. And Slay's the one that keeps messing up. And I said, Slay gave up 4 catches for 30 yards. Quignon gave up 4 catches for 67 yards. So what are we like? Are we doing that? Is it just based on play on the field? What is it? That's what I don't understand. Just win football games and you could do whatever the hell you want in your spare time.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be honest, you can't even say stuff about, rookies and, compare them to veterans in that way, even because rookies aren't really like going to have podcasts or anything like that. So it's like people are like, oh yeah, he's just more locked in. Like, well, he kind of should be because he's a rookie. So like, but no, but it's true though. Quignon definitely has a life outside of football. He might not be as public with it because he's just not at that stage yet. So like, he's just chilling. He's doing his thing, and every player does. So, they do want it. Sometimes they want to do what we do. Honestly, I would love for Darius Slay. I'd love to get on with him and chop it up. That's what's funny is that we all criticize him, but I bet if you talk to him, he'd be a cool guy. And like, I don't think he means any harm really. And I think he gets a little sensitive because fans are starting to say he sucks and he, posted his accolades. And I think I think older veterans start to like get a little angry. They're like, God, I've been so good for so long. And now these fans don't appreciate it. It's hard to accept that when a fan base stops he probably hasn't experienced this level of backlash in his whole career. Like, damn, I'm really about to be out of here. Like, this is brutal. So, speaking of Slay and obviously, and then like I mentioned earlier, Devin White, do you think those guys should be moved, traded at the deadline? Do you think that Howie Roseman is going to be a seller at the deadline and try to get younger, or do you think he's going to try to bring someone in to get us over like the hump?
I think the latter. I think having Slay there to oversee Mitchell and be kind of that vet that oversees him, the same way we've done that with our line, Brandon Graham to the Philly Dogs, right? Yep. I think some of that presence is needed. You start shipping off these older guys, I don't think they have that rock to kind of lean into. So I think we're buyers heading into the rest of the season, I would hope.
I tweeted out, I wouldn't be surprised to see him sell a few of the veterans and just go young, because I'm just not seeing our defense elevate to that level to where I'm more worried about. I'm starting to reset my expectations a little bit with this team, and that doesn't mean it can't fluctuate. But right now, I'm seeing a team that's making a lot of mistakes. That's maybe that is because they're young, but if they're going to just make the mistakes anyway, and it's going to hurt us, I kind of want to start seeing younger players play. And to be honest, I'm not just saying via trade, but I think we're going to start to see that happening. When Sidney Brown comes back, they're going to start working him in a little bit. Got to be patient with him. He's coming off the ACL. And I think we're going to see Cooper DeJean. And I know this is exactly what like Vic Fangio said, so I'm not like breaking any news or giving an opinion. He literally said it. So I think we're going to see younger players after the bye. I think they're going to really I hope that they reset as a team and play better. But what I do think they will actively do is start getting a guy in Cooper DeJean on the field more. He missed all of training camp. He used this 4 weeks to get up to speed, and now he might go because they're going to have to start moving guys around and making adjustments as the season goes on. I don't think it should stop. So I think they're going to go in a little bit different direction than they've been. And I think it'll be I'm looking at this year as now I want to see more of that, because I don't know what's long-term with these guys. And I'm on a week to week. How do you guys feel about it? Are we looking forward? Because I don't ever like giving up on a season, but have your expectations been reset, as I've just kind of said mine have?
I think you got to see this team fully healthy, right? Like you got to see
100%.
And I think that's what complimentary football is, when you go down 7-0, 14-0, you can't really get the run game going like you like to. I know a lot of fans want to clamor, why does Saquon only have 2 touches, only 3 touches? Well, you're down 14-0, the clock isn't your friend anymore, and you're on the road. So there's things like that.
Right.
But I think that it goes to the flip side too, right? If you have AJ, Smitty, Goddard, Lane, Saquon, Jalen, all healthy and clicking, and you're putting up 20 points in the first half, Now Fangio can be a little more tricky and aggressive on defense. Maybe you send a corner blitz a few times. Maybe you bring, a 5-man front. Maybe you put Milton Williams at edge and you put BG at D tackle and throw some different looks. You can afford to do things like that. But when you're down and you don't have all your weapons, you got to kind of play tight and conservative. And that doesn't allow you to do the things you want to do. So, look, I'm very negative on Twitter. You guys all know this. I'm doom and gloom. The world's over after one play. That's just how I get my thoughts out, guys. I'm not really crazy. But
today's episode is brought to you by White Glove Car Wash. Wintertime is coming, and you know what that means. Salt and brine on the roads. The leaves are going to start falling. You're going to have crap all over your car in no time. There's no better place to get it spick and span than a White Glove Car Wash. Now offering unlimited packages starting as low as $25 a month. You can go and get your car washed as many times as you want, so you can get any level of car enthusiast in your life the best gift that they can ask for. The ability to go daily and get that little perfect car of theirs clean, spick, and span. White Glove Car Wash with locations in Delaware, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. You are never too far from the glove. All you have to do is ask your phone, take me to White Glove Car Wash, and your phone is going to direct you to the best car wash in the tri-state area. Let them know that Talkin 215 sent you.
I'm week to week with it because I'll be a lot more judgmental once I see this whole product. Week one, we thought Isaiah Rodgers and Devin White were going to be starting, and they didn't even play. And then week two,
can we stop on that right there, actually? So what sense does this make? Avonte Maddox, he's a one-year guy, veteran. I know there's little familiarity, but he's playing a lot, right? Devin White, another one-year guy, and inactive, can't get on the field. Zach Bond is playing instead, and N'Kobe, obviously. Then you have Isaiah Rodgers, a veteran guy, one-year deal, not playing, inactive. What is this mix of some guys, I don't understand it. So it's so inconsistent. Could someone take a stab at that one for me? Could someone take a stab at explaining why? What are we doing, youth or veteran guys? Why can't Devin White and Isaiah Rodgers get on the field?
I think Isaiah Rodgers may have lost his job because Quinyon looks so good. And if I'm just being 100% honest, and I think if Quinyon was like a fourth rounder, like Keely Ringo, then it's like, okay, Keely, you played good. We're going to slide Isaiah back in there. Yeah. But when Quinyon was a top, 20 pick, and then he goes out there and you guys are like, wow, this kid can play. It's kind of like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Rodgers will slide you in when ready, but the kid looks good. But with Devin White, the thing that was most alarming to me, I know he's been a healthy scratch all year. Who did we just play on Sunday?
Tampa.
Who was Devin White's previous team?
Tampa.
You don't think he would have loved to go out there, stick it to his former team, show out, ball out, be introduced, be on the field, dapping it up with all his old teammates in front of the old crowd and going crazy, maybe get a sack, maybe a huge play, how amped up he would be? The fact that he didn't even dress for that game, I don't think it's a talent issue. I think there's something else there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What happened with that? What exactly? It's like Rashad Penny. It's kind of, but it's even worse. They didn't. It's not like he was one of their earlier free agent signings. He was within that first, second, third. He wasn't a guy that they just signed in August or something like that. This is a guy that's been with them all at training camp, took all the reps, and then comes down with some ankle injury and then he can't get on the field. And they say special teams, Ben Sumeren's playing. Maybe Devin White said he didn't want to play special teams. Well, why would they want him to? I don't know, man. It's
I think all indications were that N'Kobe looked good, Bond looked good, and Devin White was kind of odd man out. But Tom, you said the Rashad Penny thing, which I was gearing up for. It's going to be that situation. All season, it's going to be, where's Penny? Where's Penny? It's going to be, where's White? Where's White? So until you see him, it's always that the fan base is going to be like, why are we not playing this guy?
Yeah, I get
until you do.
And I guess maybe maybe they just didn't think he was going to be that. What Joey said, talent. It's like the talent. Can he be completely unplayable to the point where he's not even dressing? It can't be. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
I'm curious to see if there's a disconnect there between him and the staff, him and Fangio, whatever it is. It seems like if you rub Fangio the wrong way just one time, That's kind of doghouse for life, it seems. My biggest concern with this whole situation is if you keep him on the roster this whole time is, let's just say Devin White or Zach Vaughn are to miss time, right? How motivated I'm going to be if I'm Devin White, just knowing I'm going in for a game or two until they're back. Like, I'm not really like leading the boys out there, with a pregame speech. I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm part of the team. I feel like you invited me here because I'm dating one of your friends. Like, I'm just a +1 at this point. Like, hey, I'll go mingle in the kitchen and hope to make, like conversation, but I feel out of place. I just don't. That's a great analogy, by the way. I just don't see how he's going to be motivated, even if he does have to play at this point.
Yeah, and that kind of goes to what I'm saying back to, kind of being sellers at the deadline a little bit. Should they just offload some of these veteran guys? Should they start?
What do you mean by sellers, Tommy? I need you to clarify that. What do you mean by sellers here?
I mean, go a little younger. Like, play your young guys, like Jalix Hunt, Sidney Brown, obviously, Cooper DeJean, obviously. Why are we playing Avonte Maddox? Because he's familiar with the team. Like, I need to see these changes. I need them to just shift into like getting these younger guys playing time, because what we're doing right now with these guys that are playing, these veterans, it's not making us an elite defense. I'm not seeing it. So I want to see younger guys. I'm looking at this year a little different. I want to see these younger guys, like kind of like how you said, Joey, about how you were kind of flipped in terms of your opinion on preseason. Just kind of go, maybe not so much trades, but just like being a team that, like the defensive side of the ball specifically, goes in the direction of playing its young players a little bit more, and not so much. And I don't want to like knock any players. Like, I think Avonte's a valuable player. I think you could get some reps in at safety too. But I do want to see the transition to getting some of these young guys, because on defense they are turning the page. Like Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave are gone the last 2 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Freaking Hassan Reddick, they got rid of him.
Yep.
Can't get him back unless he gets cut. They got rid of a bunch of like big. I mean, either got rid of or retired Fletcher Cox. And then Brandon Graham. I mean, yeah, he's there. He's like one of the last veterans. I like him. Obviously wants it to be his farewell tour, but at the end of the day, I think they need to start realizing like it's time to just like make this transition full. Like,
yeah,
it's time. You're playing Nolan Smith a lot. Continue to do that. I think Carter, Davis, like the defense is changing. It's just, if we're gonna get cooked, then like let the young guys get cooked. You know what I mean?
Let's see what we got. We got, right? In a Cooper DeJean, in a Sidney Brown. And
right.
I agree with that. I don't know that we're wholesaling the team come trade deadline. Like, I don't think you're saying that, but like interject some of these young guys, right? See what you got in the Cooper DeJean for sure.
Yeah.
And not in fucking punt returns. God forbid you put that guy back there again. He got obliterated all game. But let's see what he's got.
Yeah. And you even talk about a guy like Jalix Hunt. I want to see Jalix Hunt. He got playing time in the Bucs game. He made a play. I saw one film clip of it where he just busted through him and they supported the run, and it was like a short gain. So the energy, the hunger, like, I think that, as much as I don't really mind, got what guys do outside of the playing field, things like that, as long as it's safe and not anything bad. Like Darius, it doesn't bother me much, but the example of that, like, veteran guys, sometimes they're a little bit like, all right, this is the end of my career kind of thing. It is a mental thing. So I feel like just getting younger guys on the field, like they're just starting their career. So they kind of need it. They like, I already know, like, it's not going to be pretty all the time. Like, you're going to see the mistakes. It's just, I think it's very important because, if you're looking at this season and you're like, man, this is a year where we're like a favorite to go all the way. Like, we're not. We're in the mix of a bunch of good teams right now, and that's great. And I think all you have is what you have. Like, we're not going to make some franchise-changing trade. The trade deadline's not like, that's not what it's for. Like, it's not like the NBA. It's not the same. player movement. So Joey looks like he's dude. That was crazy. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. That camera just like glitched up. But like, what camera is it?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
It's my other computer, man. Every time
looks
I
like
use
we're
this
looking through
computer,
like a bottle cap.
it looks like I'm in a porthole because the camera is like, see if I
Yeah.
hold it like bad.
Yeah, no, you're
But
good.
then when I let it go, it looks like I'm in a
Yeah, look, yeah,
damn peephole.
pretty cool.
What I missed with my terrible computer here?
So I'm just kind of over explaining this sellers thing because I don't want it to come across as, and because it doesn't, as me saying like have like a fire sale on the team, just be out, just completely rebuild. I want to see these younger guys play, and I'm not going to go back. If you want to see what you missed, you can like listen to the pod.
I'll make sure I listen to this episode.
Yeah,
I'll make sure that
But no, just getting younger guys on the field. If you're going to see mistakes, I think it's an important year. I just made a pretty bold statement. I said, are you looking at this team right now? It's like a Super Bowl favorite, and I'd say no. So I think it's valuable that you get young players on the field and get them playing time because like I said just a second ago, all we have is what we have. Like we're not going to make some franchise changing, like, oh my gosh, now we're Super Bowl favorite kind of trade or acquisition at this point. I just don't think that happens. We just need to trust what we have. So I think just getting more out of the young guys, and I think they'll get more on the field. A little bit of Jalen Hunt, maybe he can get ramped up and get in there and get some more playing time. I know he played against Tampa, so Thomas Booker. I like. I'm a Thomas Booker guy, honestly. Just a guy that play him a little bit more. We started this transition of getting, we kind of lost a lot of our veteran core and teams still turning over. So, I wanted to say this specifically on this episode. I'm getting to the point where 2022, great year, awesome, throw it out. 2023, started great, collapse, kind of look bad, throw it out. This is a new team. I just want to see their trajectory start to change. Like, get some confidence, get a complete game going, beat someone bad, dominate a game, front to back. Just start moving in the right direction. I think playing young players and getting their confidence up and having that success could go a long way. So I'm behind this squad. We just need to see them positive trajectory upward. So with that being said, what do you guys expect coming out of the bye? Cleveland Browns coming into town. Let's talk about it a little bit. I know it's early, but what do you expect with these guys coming back to close this episode out? We'll preview the game a bit. What do you expect?
I think the Browns look like shit. I'll say that.
Yeah, they look like Browns.
They do. And I think coming out of a bye, it's a good bounce back. I think the one thing you said, Tom, just real quick, wanted to circle back to is like my expectations, because I think this helps answer the question about what I think about the Browns with the expectations. This team is a field goal away from being a 3-0 team. We should have won that Falcons game.
3-1.
3-0 and then losing the so 3-1. Yeah. We lost the Tampa Bay game. Forget about it. I think there was a lot of stock put into the fact that this was a revenge game from last year. And like Tom, like you said, slate's clean. Forget about that game. I think what people forget is that the Bucs got some guys. We're talking Mike Evans, talking Chris Godwin, Baker Mayfield, wherever you stay on that side of the coin. They got some guys. They're a good squad. They beat the Lions this year. They beat the Commanders, who are now playing pretty well. They're a good squad. So, like, I'm not giving it a whole bunch of stock, especially where we stood from an injury standpoint. So my expectations I'm not going to let one game ruin my expectations. Mm-hmm. But moving forward in the bye, getting healthy, coming around with the Browns, I'm expecting something, some signs of life, get the shit back on the road. Mm-hmm. I think we beat the Browns. I don't know what that score looks like, but I think we should be able to beat the Browns. I would hope handily.
Yeah. So your expectation for the game is like they come back and it's not like, well, this was a tune-up. It was just their first game together, because it really isn't. I mean, they're in a new offense, but these guys at home coming back, like if they win and it doesn't look good, and it is another one of those crazy, like, I mean, more so on the offense for me. And that's what I need. Like, if the defense gets beat, I'll be pretty pissed off because the Browns look like garbage. They really do. This is going to be crazy. And their defense actually is their strong point. But, man, I'm really just expecting the offense to put together a game and just turn into a win. If the defense gets beat a little bit here and there, I mean, I can live with it. I just really want to see this offense and this team. That's what drives the team to me. So I want to see them together, and I want to see them do something. So that's my expectation. It really is. Like I'm not going to be too happy with anything other than that. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, like, we're having this podcast here as Eagles fans, as a Philly, centric podcast. And I try to think of what like a Cleveland Browns podcast would be sounding like right now, right? Like quarterback issues, head coach issues. Like we talked about that on this one. Like the offense looks horrible, the turnovers, the game management, just the sloppy play, losing to bad teams, not being able to get any rhythm going. They have it worse over there than we do. So that being said, with us coming off a bye, an extra week to prepare, being fully healthy, and it's in Philly, right? That game?
Yes.
Or is it in Cleveland?
It's in Philly.
Okay, at home, there should be no reason on this earth that you lose that game. And I'm not saying that any given Sunday anything can happen, right? Because it can. We know the Browns are a professional football team that can beat other professional football teams. But I am saying what they're probably thinking on their podcasts and their talk shows are, man, we're in for a world of hurt if we have to play the Eagles coming off a bye fully healthy. So you lose that game, maybe we're having conversations about Sirianni and Selling and a couple of people because you should not lose that game. So I fully expect them to win. And being 3-2, considering the state of the rest of the NFL, how nobody looks dominant, really. Nobody really looks dominant at this point in the league. I got to be feeling pretty good about it going into the rest of the schedule.
I mean, you bring up a good point about no one looking dominant, but you'd have to say that right now the Washington Commanders look better than we do on the football field. They absolutely do.
Who did they beat, by the way? Can we figure out who they beat too? By the way, I want to pull those up because they beat the Giants and they didn't score one touchdown in that game.
Yeah,
I know. 4 or 5 field goals.
I know. They took a bunch of field goals and they won. Imagine that, taking a freaking field goal.
Then they beat the
Bengals.
Beat the winless Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, but I mean,
and then they beat the Cardinals on I think a fake field goal bomb, like 4th down, like a weird thing, and T. Higgins dropped the touchdown. Like,
whoa!
Didn't they beat the Cardinals?
They beat the Cardinals.
They waxed the Cardinals. Yeah, they waxed.
They crushed the Cardinals.
Oh, they waxed the Cardinals. Yeah. Okay. They smacked the Cardinals and they beat the Bengals. But the Cardinals have what? 1 win. Giants have 1 win. The Bengals had 0 wins at that point. Like, I'm not like
we play some of those
ready to be like, oh my God.
Hey, listen, if those teams would have beat
the
Commanders, they'd have more wins. So to be honest, it's just about how you're playing, not who you're playing. That's what I think. I think they're looking good.
Look, they're taking care of business. They won 3 of their 4, right?
Say what?
I get it, but with my 2 eyeballs, I'm not. They look better than I thought, but they also don't look like I'm going to be scared going into a matchup with them. A rookie quarterback, and just I don't see anybody on their defense. I'm sorry, I don't. Maybe I'm being a little cocky here, but I'm not. Props to them for playing well so far, but there's going to be a rookie wall that gets hit. There's going to be a rookie head coach wall that gets hit. Not rookie, but you know what I'm saying, Dan Quinn's first year. And I think they're going to have like a murderer's row of teams coming up where it's like back down to earth.
I hope so. I will come back to that, God, because Jaden Daniels is playing his butt off right now. I mean, he looks amazing. I mean,
they got
playing great.
Runs around, makes plays with his legs, throws the ball well. I mean, and then they got a tough run game. I mean, they're playing the ball. They're playing the right way. I mean, they are. And the last 2 games, I mean, their offense went off and won them 2 games. And their defense obviously still coming around, but I'm not writing anybody off with the way we're playing. Honestly, we've been susceptible to losing any game, and we lost a couple of them. So, I think we're right where we should be at, and I think they're at where they should be at, and they're getting better each week, and that's what I want to see out of the Eagles. I want to see them. I'm not going to discredit us for beating up on bad teams. That's what you're supposed to do. So, we'll see what happens. But man, I mean. It might be. I mean, what about let's do a little NFC East. What about the Cowboys? I mean, they're kind of reeling right now. They're down Parsons. They're down Lawrence. They're down.
I have two really good friends. I have quite a few friends that are really good Cowboys fans, like big time, like we are Eagles fans.
Are they out?
And even after that win over the Giants, they were like, That doesn't move the needle for me at all. Like we struggled with the Giants. Like,
and here's the Cowboys schedule. They got the Steelers, the Lions, the 49ers back to back to back. We talked about our gauntlet last year. Like it was.
Don't they have a bye week in between that though? Don't they have a bye week?
13, 20. So they do. You're right. So Steelers, Lions, bye, Niners, Falcons, us is with a bye.
That's a tough schedule, man. And they're on the road against Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken.
They are, and then they got us. Then they got the Texans, who are nothing to balk at. And then the Commanders, who, Tommy, to your point,
I like that. Hey, they're playing at that point. See what we're going to see at that point. Who are the Cowboys playing? The Commanders of now, or the Commanders that the boy coach thinks are going to hit a wall and just die? I hope so, dude.
I think we're better than them. Is what I'm trying to say. I think we're better than them. Is what I'm trying to say.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what. I'm going to the Eagles-Commanders game on Thursday Night Football later this season, so I hope we can show that we're better on the field, or I'll be pretty pissed off.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Commanders, real quick, Joey. They got the Browns. They got the Ravens. Not an easy game. They got the Panthers. They got the Bears. That's our next couple. So that Ravens game, Tommy and Joey, that's a big one.
Yeah.
See who are the Commanders really, right?
That's going to be a big one for us too later in the season. But
to
be honest, of those teams, the Ravens are the only one that truly scare me. But I think they could definitely split those and be 5-3. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, they're gonna stick around. They're gonna be pesky. They're gonna be biting ankles and whatever Dan Campbell says. Dan Quinn is just a similar coach like that. Like you saw what the Cowboys defense was doing. They were taking the ball away. They were doing, I think better than they are this year, to be completely honest with you. So I like Dan Campbell's kind of like grit Dan Quinn's grit. And I think they're just I just think they're a well done team for just like this year. Maybe they he hits the rook or the wall next year. He comes back down to earth. But I think this year that could be a 9-10 win team. The Commanders. Oh yeah. Playoff.
I was going to say, since we're talking about the NFC East and we talked about Jaden Daniels and whatnot, we talked about Quinyon earlier. What a first round for the NFC East. If you go Quinyon, Malik Neighbors, Jaden Daniels, Tyler Guyton, like that's the NFC East, like kind of hit those out the park. Like say what you want about Tyler Guyton. He had a rough game. It is what it is, but the kid has shown flashes of being good. But those four look like, hey, we made the right pick.
And to be honest, the Cowboys got Cooper Beebe or BB or whatever his name is, their center, and he looks the part too. And he's never even played center before, so they draft good on the offensive line, so that's good. But yeah, that draft, and then got to see what we have in Cooper DeJean. But that draft for everyone, if I'm not mistaken, Washington picked a couple good players
I think they take Mike Sainristil from
Michigan. He laced it.
I liked him a lot. It was a pretty good draft for the NFC East. And, to your point about going young, Tommy, like, even if you don't become quote unquote sellers, right? But you play Coop in the slot, how worse could it be?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
How worse could that be if you play him in the slot? If you play Jalix Hunt at the edge more, how worse could it be? Your best edge rusher is a 36-year-old that may retire after this year. That's how bad the edge rush has been. Yep. So if you're going to play some of those younger guys like that, my point is like, you're either still at the same level you were, or best case scenario, you're better, but it's almost impossible to be worse than it is right now. So why not swing for the fences with that?
Yeah. Right. And like what I'm thinking is, even if it is a little worse, even if guys are making mistakes, at least it's guys that have a future with the team. Like you have to have more of that, because if not, then play Devin White, then play Isaiah, like play these veteran guys that are on 1-year deals, rental guys that you went all in with and stuff. Like it almost seems like a weird mix of that. So like, stop doing that. We don't need to play the 1-year rental veterans. They can all be backups. Avonte Maddox could be a good little piece to play in different spots and different matchups, but we got to start getting these guys more regularly on the field. And like Jalix Hunt, dude, I got really hype about him. I'm upset because I watched so much YouTube highlights of that guy. I got really hype about him in the offseason. I thought he was going to play a little more, but I understand it is tough. I always talk about, I always preach this nonstop. So I got to live by my own rule. It's that football in the NFL is really hard. It's a hard thing to do. So, at the same time, I'm getting impatient with, how the team is and things like that because of this big losing streak we've been on or whatever, the collapse into this year, coming into this year and not playing well. So I'm kind of getting like antsy a little bit, but got to remember that, sometimes getting these guys acclimated and having them ready to play, when they're more ready to take those reps is a better deal than just tossing them in when they're not ready. So hopefully I'm trusting the coaches on that one and being able to. So, yeah. So the Browns coming in after the bye. I mean, what else is there to say, boys? I mean, that's the game. That's the biggest game in the Link in 20 years. I feel like Jackie Moon trying to sell this team.
Hot
We
dogs.
don't want to sell it. We're winning. We're winning.
Dogs.
We're coming out of it with a win, Tommy. We're coming out of it with a win.
I hear that, but I'm trying to get people excited. Like, are you guys super excited for this football team to like continue, or are you kind of downtrodden? Like, I want to get into the psyche of a fan.
Not excited.
I'm still right there. Yeah, I don't let the Tampa game derail me.
Yeah,
like Joey said, I'm going to be on Twitter with my videos of I'm going to kill myself, all that stuff, because that's how I feel during the game. But
are the vibes
take a backseat? Yeah. No.
Are the vibes down on the team, do you think, because all this stuff going on with Slay and CJ and all this stuff? No? You think the vibes are still up?
This is going to be my final thought.
All right.
This is going to be my final thought as we wrap up, because and I've got to get this off my chest right now with vibes in the locker room and because of Twitter and social media.
All right. Final thought. Joey.
Tommy, you, me, Chris, Jake, Sean, every Eagles fan on the planet, whoever you are, don't take this personal, but you know nothing about the leadership qualities of an individual Eagles player, coach, team member, whatever. Nothing. What they do outside of the team and on the field has absolutely nothing to do with their leadership capabilities inside that locker room and on that field. So if you don't like the way CJ talks too much, doesn't have anything to do with his leadership with those Eagles. If you don't like the way Slay gets on podcasts and laughs and jokes with other players, has nothing to do with his leadership. If you don't like Nick Sirianni's face or how he makes stupid gestures, has nothing to do with his leadership capabilities. I'm sorry, but I don't like pulling this card, but you could sometimes tell the people that have never been around a sport, whether it be coaching, whether it be playing, whether it be close to it, managing, whatever it is, you could kind of tell that sometimes. And I hate saying this because there's really smart people that haven't, but there's also dumb people that haven't either. And you're exposing yourself by constantly commenting on the leadership capabilities of people that you know nothing about inside that locker room or those white lines. So try not to hang too much on social media and what these guys do outside of the sport. We're podcasting right now, but this isn't our job. So you can't sit here and say, oh, get back to work, Joey, Tom, and Chris. What are you doing podcasting? No, I'm clocked out right now, guys. We don't have a game right now. You can have a personality and do both things as long as you clock in when it's Sunday and it's time to whoop ass. So stop commenting on the leadership capabilities and start worrying about how they are in the field. Then you can comment on that. Go Birds.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That might have been one of the best final thoughts I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'm angry, boys. God.
So not to like derail the momentum of final thought, but I do want to ask, we forgot one thing, and I want specifically Joey's opinion on this because of he's very much preaching right now. What about Jalen Hurts' moment where he said, we'll have a moment. I know you saw the clip when they asked him, are you and Nick Sirianni going to get together and talk about the message to send to the team? He said, we'll have a moment. And that was it. Do you think he just like has had chances to come out and really defend Sirianni and be like, get his back? And do you think he likes him, or do you think he hates him? What do you think?
I think he likes him when they win, and he doesn't like him when they lose. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I feel like he thinks that Nick doesn't add much value to what Jalen does as a quarterback. And I don't think that Jalen thinks that he doesn't like him, but I think Jalen likes to surround himself with people that make him better. And it seems to me that a lot of times Jalen is like, yeah, I like Nick, but you've been staying at my house for how long now, and you don't contribute to rent, groceries, or anything. Like, sooner or later you're gonna have to move out and find your place because you're not making me better. You're not helping me grow. So I like you, but are you helping me get to this next level? If not, then my answers are going to be kind of like cut and dry.
Yeah. Wow.
This is what I think.
I mean, and then you have to think then that's why people are, starting to speculate. One of the reasons people are speculating about, whether or not they should fire him, get rid of him now and let Kellen Moore take over or whatever. But even you don't even know if that's the guy, if we're being honest. And so and who knows who would be the guy. So it's tough to say. But yeah, no, that was a good breakdown of that. But all right, we'll continue with final thought. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah. Well, I think Joey said it best, so I'll keep it simple here. Take one from Aaron Rodgers' playbook is RELAX. Eagles Twitter, Eagles fan base, just relax a little bit. We are in week 4. There's a long season. Football is a weird game. Any given Sunday. I can't say it better than Joey, but that's what I'll say. Keep it simple. Relax.
I love it.
Early.
I love that. I love that too. My final thought is that I just spent one of the better podcasts I've ever been on, because right now I'm at an all-time high of being, I guess this Twitter guy that puts out takes and feels like so connected to what's happening all the time that I was getting a little antsy. And, you guys calming me down with it's just week 4 and all the stuff that, Joey's saying about social media and the leadership qualities being kind of that scapegoat rather than really anything real that's actually happening. And they just need to play better. They need to get healthy, and we need to keep going with this team. You guys really helped me see that through, give me that perspective. And it was great sharing the mics with you boys tonight. And, all I got to say is first of all, go Phils, because they play this weekend. But go Birds, man. I mean, what else can we say?